know and you love Brett. He's our executive director of Young Living Farms. He is instrumental in our rigorous farming process, which is what sets Young Living apart from all the other companies. He is so passionate about farming, and he's truly an expert in getting high quality, pure products into the hands of our customers. And no one knows our farming process. No one knows this process better than Brett. So I'm excited to bring Brett on to talk about this differentiating factor about these products. Brett, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Wow. Well, what a way to start 2025, everyone. I don't know if I've ever been this excited about a product launch. And full disclosure, I'm up at my mother-in-law's in Alberta right now. So I have some maybe technical difficulties. And Haley, if you wouldn't mind sharing my slides, because so far that's not working out for me.
I definitely can share them. Let me get them up right
Okay,
here.
thank you.
There we go. Here we go.
And so, I do different presentations about hemp and how we've turned it into the seed to sill standard or, on our farms. And I always ask, what's the world's most misunderstood plant? Now, today we know we're talking about hemp, so we won't take any guesses. If we go to the next slide, please. So this is a quote I love from Gary, and take the time to read it if you want, but it's all about discovery, and you have to take risks to get the information you want. And if you're not living on the edge, you're wasting space. And that really was the way Gary approached everything. And so we took that into the hemp production and moving it into the seed to sill standard. And what I love about it, though, is even though Gary established these standards so long ago, it just naturally creates innovation and discovery. And I really feel like this new product is unlike anything that's currently on the market anywhere in the world, honestly. If we go next slide. So we have Dr. Ollie with this. And if those of you that haven't read his book, you really need to. It just really sets up the link between cannabinoids and essential oils and how they work so extremely well together. But another thing that guided this process is Ali's quote right here is, seed to sill certifications is extremely important for essential oils. The same quality assurance process is also of the utmost importance for the CBD cannabinoids. So, with guides like that, like Gary and Ollie, all we did is take hemp, which we'll get into how it is very unique compared to other crops, and just built it into the seed to sill model, that which led to just incredible amounts of innovation, because that's what seed to sill is ultimately, is working with nature and nature's innovations. So these are just some quick examples. I think a lot of you know Gary's work he did with the Landels in Provence and using lavender in nature's cycles and systems, right? And not cutting clones and not genetically modifying. And it broadened our chemistry profiles. It continually creates new chemistry profiles. It aids native pollinators because we're working with natural pollination. And so, we started developing this project roughly in 2021, and we do what we do every year. We collect seeds from mother plants. This is a natural process, but it's actually part of how we have a relationship with these plants, and we're not separate. It's how Gary created unique genetics on all of his farms. It's really beautiful. And we won't get too in depth on this, but almost all CBD or hemp on the market's genetically modified. It's a process called feminization, but I mean, just think of it as geoengineering, genetic altercation, genetic editing. All of our farms are organic, and then we're practicing regenerative agriculture, treating the soil as a living system, having the microbiome of the soil release all that nutrients that in turn lets the plant express itself genetically with new genetic expressions from the seeds every year. The extraction method mimics what we do with distillation to not denature molecules and cannabinoids, and also keeps it in its most natural and pure state, which we're really proud of. And then all partners we found adhere to all seed to sill practices. So for those of you unfamiliar with hemp, I mean, it's considered a plant that acclimates quicker than any other. And so when we took our seeds and we moved them to the Highland Flats farm, we took them to Mount Nebo Farm and Skyrider. They immediately started to express different chemistry profiles, different genetic expressions. And so, like Howard was saying, this is entourage plus, 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 plus. We're blending these essential oils and what we're getting from the different farms that even has a wider chemistry profile. So if you haven't been to the farms and seen our hemp grows, please come and see. It looks like someone got to see. And we're working with legal to try to actually do a hemp harvest event. So like the winter harvest, we will be doing a hemp harvest, and we think we can actually do this in Idaho. So just stay tuned, and we'd love to have you involved with the whole process. If we go next slide, please. So like I was saying, all these farms, they have unique soil types, they have a unique elevation, they have a unique UV index, et cetera, et cetera. And so we've been able to create unique genetics from each one of our farms and actually, do the analysis every year and start tracking which way these genetics are heading. And again, this will be completely unique to our farms. And when they do the cloning and the genetic modification and hemp production generally, they stop collecting seeds. The plants stop having that interaction with their environment and being able to express themselves, be sentient, express new genetics and seeds every year. So it's truly put hemp back into its natural cycle and into the seed to soil standard. So again, visit the farms, and there's going to be different aromas, there's going to be different chemistry profiles, different terpene profiles. If we go next slide, please. So this is at Mount Nebo, and I mean this is an example of a mother plant we left. The rest of the field has all been harvested and distilled for essential oil. But this is one we love the characteristics of, and if you've ever pulled a female hemp flower apart, there'll literally be thousands of seeds in this one mother plant. And so every year our genetics are going to get more unique to our farms and even better. And I truly believe the more we interact with these plants and express gratitude and that they have a purpose for us, I even believe that changes the genetics. So that's another reason we want to start doing events with the hemp harvest. We go next slide, please, Haley. So this is just another overview again, these differentiators that our farms are supporting in the seed to soil product. We have unique genetics from our farms expressing the unique characteristics of our farms, the non-genetically altered seeds and seed collection every year for new genetic expression. Our farms have organic certifications. We're doing steam extraction. So if you look at hemp products, you almost never see an essential oil, right? And as the world leader of essential oils, and to go even more whole plant, entourage broad spectrum, we've been steam distilling the essential oils from the farms, and that's been added into the muscle rub, right? The branding, the transparency that you can see the grows on each farm, the opportunity of perfect transparency of source, and then any partner has been identified, adheres to all seed to soil standards. We go next slide, please. And Howard touched on this in much more detail, but again, I think this is something that's going to be unique to Young Living. I mean, you can see he has numerous examples of different essential oils and which terpene was enhanced in the essential oil when it interacted with the CBD. But now we have several other cannabinoids besides CBD, the hemp essential oil, the hemp seed oil, and a whole collection of essential oils from our farms. So oils from the Finca, oils from Highland Flats, oils from Mount Nebo. So again, I think, we're going to really, like the first slide, being a point of discovery and ahead of everyone in this world of hemp products with this entourage plus, 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 or this bioactivity. And then, if we talk about whole plant, the dream is to actually build the packaging out of the fiber eventually too. So you'll have the cannabinoid oil, the seed oil, the essential oil, and even the packaging. And like, Howard was saying, chlorophyll, which there's actually 3 different chlorophylls, flavonoids. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. Next slide, please. And again, to me, I think this is going to be an iconic product line, something, akin to Ninja or Thieves. So, and anyhow, I think this is, I just, Gary always believed that hemp had just so much opportunity. And it took a lot of research, and it took working with partners like Ollie and now Howard to, and all of our farmers. And so anyhow, I couldn't be prouder of the work we've done together, and I want to thank everyone. Um, yeah, and this is just the beginning, truly. This is the infancy of this product line, I feel. I mean, granted, there's a lot of regulatory and legal things that I'm not involved in that has to get done first. Next slide, please. So for some of those of you that are unfamiliar with hemp in general, maybe you've never even seen the plant, or you've seen different depictions of cannabis and stuff. This is just a really quick definition in the Farm Bill. And if you look at that under 0.3%, when we've done the selective seed collecting every year, we've actually got our THC cut in half. So it's even half of that 0.3% on all of our farms, which is interesting. We've also tried to remove the skunky smell somewhat and balance it up off with more citric notes, limening notes. And so it's, again, lower THC and an aroma that's more unique to Young Living. Next slide, please. So when you walk into your garden, you don't go and see your male tomato plant and your female, right? But hemp is unique in that it's dioecious, and so all the male reproductive organs are on one plant, the female are on another. But when they do the genetic modification, they get rid of all the males. The chromosomes where the male genes are held, they have a way of stressing hormones, usually through a pesticide called silver thiosulfate, stressing a hormone called ethylene and getting rid of all the chromosomes that hold male genetics. So obviously in seed to sill, we would never do anything like that. If we go next slide, please. So this is the female hemp plant that everyone's familiar with, and this is where the majority of the cannabinoids are held, and so the males are eliminated. If we go down one slide, please, Haley. Now, I'd encourage you to get more familiar with the anatomy of the hemp plant, because it's not as mysterious as it seems. When you're unfamiliar with it, it is a lot different than other plants generally. And when I don't want to go over my time, but take the time to see really how the female differentiates from the male, how the pollination happens, and why we've kept that in play to keep it a natural product. Next slide, please. And so here's the male hemp plant, and we've distilled the male and the female essential oils separately. And the chemistry profiles are strikingly different, but then we've blended them back together again to honor that seed to sill, whole plant, full spectrum approach. So again, we won't go too deep into this. There's other interesting aspects of hemp, that it's photosensitive and how it flowers depending on different lighting. But again, I hope you all, this maybe is an entry point for some of you, but take the time to start learning the anatomy and how what we've done in Young Living is completely different. Next slide, please. And so here's just one example. We're calling this the Utah Red Rock hemp out at Tabiona. Here's a GC report. And if you look at just one, look at the beta caryophyllene off the charts on that. And that's something that, Ollie hits a lot in his book about how the beta caryophyllene interacts with the endocannabinoid system. But again, going back to Gary's first slide, I think there's going to be so much discovery in this as we discover how these different terpenes interact not just with CBD, but all the other cannabinoids. And then having a new passionate expert like Howard on board, it's all the end goal of all this work on the farm we're doing is, if we go to the next slide, is to actually interact with our own endocannabinoid systems, right? With the phytocannabinoids from plants and all the other compounds. So, they say there's 130 different cannabinoids and maybe more. And I mean, 430-ish different compounds in the hemp plant alone. And imagine we're combining all those with essential oils from our farms. It's just beyond belief. In fact, I have a hard time getting it into words. So if I didn't do a good job, I apologize. But we'll hand it over to Ollie now.
We love when Brett talks about the farms, right? Who loves hearing from Brett? I do. I love hearing firsthand. We have someone that's firsthand working at all of our farms. And so it's like you're missing the middleman. You get to hear straight from the source the difference that we are making in our farms, which then goes to our products. So